Okay, let's dive into this. Welcome to The Explainer. It's so incredibly easy to look at super successful people, watch them build their absolute dream lives, and just feel completely stuck in place. Today, we're breaking down a really realistic, highly effective morning routine straight from our source material. The whole goal here? To get you unstuck and build a rock-solid foundation for your day. Morning routines get a ton of hype, right? But honestly, they're usually so insanely complex that they're basically impossible to stick with. So we're going to look at a much more streamlined, approachable method instead. Here's exactly how we're going to map this out today. First, the myth of complexity. Then, create before you consume. Next, anchor and map your mind. Manage your daily energy. And finally, your focus block and identity. It's a completely achievable timeline from minute 0 to minute 60, making the first hour of your day incredibly productive without completely burning you out before breakfast. All right, let's start with section 1, the myth of complexity. If you've spent any time at all online lately, you know exactly how exhausting and, well, overwhelming modern hustle culture feels to the average person. It's a lot. But it brings up a really interesting question. What if success actually isn't that complicated? We have this ingrained belief that hitting our goals requires some kind of superhuman, shocking effort the absolute second the alarm goes off. It is so easy to fall into the trap of thinking you have to change absolutely everything about your life overnight. And let's be real, that almost always leads to a feeling of total paralysis. And this brilliantly illustrates the contrast. On one side, you've got those terrifying 25-step 4 a.m. routines, you know the ones, freezing ice baths, confusing supplements, an hour of intense meditation. Just thinking about attempting that schedule makes you tired. It's exactly why most people quit by day 3. On the other side, you have small, consistent daily steps. The source material argues that success isn't made from one massive, shocking jump. It's about building a foundation one single brick at a time, prioritizing long-term consistency way over short-term intensity. So how do we actually start that process? Section 2, create before you consume. This covers that critical opening 30 minutes of your morning, focusing heavily on the golden rule of creation over consumption. Just consider the routine of Telegram CEO Pavel Durov. He ensures he does not look at his phone when he wakes up. Why? So his mind remains completely clear for his own important work. It's such a brilliant, authoritative example of why you absolutely have to protect your first 30 minutes from the noise of the outside world. When the brain first wakes up, it's in this highly suggestible, super relaxed state. Flooding it with external inputs right away completely shatters that natural cognitive advantage. Think about it. When your alarm rings, if you immediately grab your phone to check messages, doom scroll social media, or read the news, you are instantly reacting to others. You literally get pulled right into other people's problems, other people's emergencies, and other people's plans. You're giving away your prime focus instantly. But when you keep that phone away, you are acting on your own plan. The takeaway here is absolutely clear. Keeping the phone away for those first 30 minutes tells your brain that your own growth, your own thoughts, and your own goals come first, period. Okay, let's move to how this builds momentum. Section 3, anchor and map your mind. We're looking at the next 20 minutes here, where we transition from simply avoiding distractions to actively setting the course for your day. First up, we anchor ourselves with 10 minutes of quiet. Literally, just sit in a chair, close your eyes, and focus on your breath. And listen, notice that this isn't some intimidating hour-long meditation session that requires absolute perfection. It's just a simple 10-minute mental reset. In our crazy modern world full of constant notifications and noise, there is immense power in silence. Practicing being present like this creates a little space of peace and dramatically reduces your baseline stress before the demands of the day even begin. Now, after you anchor your mind, it's time to map it out. For the next 10 minutes, grab a pen and paper for a quick 2-part journaling practice. Step 1 is gratitude, but here is the trick. You gotta be highly specific. Don't just write a broad category like my family. Write, I am thankful for this incredibly hot cup of coffee, or I'm thankful for a funny text I got from my friend yesterday. Getting granular like this actively trains your brain's reticular activating system to actually seek out and spot the good things around you. Then, step 2 is intention, which essentially acts as the GPS for your life. So, the crucial point is exactly how you define that intention. We call this the Steve Jobs method. You literally ask yourself, what one thing will make today successful? Instead of writing out a frantic to-do list of 20 different chores that will inevitably leave you feeling totally overwhelmed, you pick just one single focus. This rule of one ensures that you are actually being productive with your day rather than just spinning your wheels being busy. It cuts right through the noise and gives you immediate laser-sharp purpose. Next, we pivot to the physical component of the routine. Section 4, manage your daily energy. Because let's be honest, it is incredibly difficult to maintain a sharp, focused mind if your physical body is feeling completely sluggish and stuck. This is such a fascinating way to look at it. Think of your daily energy exactly like money in a bank account. Every single task you do throughout the day, every minor decision you make, every quick email you send, they're all withdrawals from that account. If you spend your energy on small, unimportant things early in the morning, your account goes bankrupt by noon. When you hit that terrible afternoon slump where you just can't seem to focus, you realize it is actually an energy problem, not a time management problem. So, to put deposits back into that energy bank account, the routine suggests just 15 to 20 minutes of movement. And notice how approachable this is. A fast walk outside, some simple yoga, a few push-ups. You absolutely don't need to run a marathon like Tim Cook or Richard Branson before breakfast to see the benefits. You just need basic, simple motion to wake up your nervous system, increase blood flow to the brain, and generate some vital energy. This one small deposit pays massive dividends in how clearly you can think and create for the rest of the day. And finally, we arrive at the last chronological step of the morning. Section 5, focus block and new identity. This is the engine of the entire routine and the ultimate goal of all the foundational practices we've just set up. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is this single number right here, 25. This represents the 25-minute focus block. When we look at a massive, complex goal, we naturally feel resistance and we procrastinate because the task just feels far too big to tackle. But anyone can focus on something for just 25 minutes. It takes a huge, daunting objective and breaks it down into an incredibly small, manageable, and achievable chunk of time. The whole premise here is that one focused 25-minute session is wildly more powerful than 3 hours of distracted, half-hearted work. By setting a timer for exactly 25 minutes, you create a bounded constraint. You put away the phone, eliminate all those extra tabs on your computer, and you tackle that one important task you wrote down in your journal earlier. Doing this secures an early daily victory. It triggers a psychological reward mechanism that builds an incredible amount of immediate momentum to carry you through the rest of the day. Of course, your mind is naturally going to resist this at first. It will crave that easy, low-effort feeling of scrolling through a feed or checking emails. But remember this rule. A perfect plan that you ignore will always be beaten by a good plan that you follow consistently. If you miss a day, the key is not to quit. It's about building a brand new identity of discipline and control, just brick by brick. When you focus on being the type of person who consistently shows up, rather than demanding flawless perfection every single time, the habits actually stick. Which brings us to our conclusion. I want to leave you with this final provocative question. What one habit will you start tomorrow morning? Seriously, stop waiting for that magical, perfect time when your schedule magically clears up. Stop waiting for some sudden lightning bolt of motivation to strike. The best time to start was yesterday. The second best time is right now. Pick just one of these steps from the explainer today, make a concrete promise to yourself, and start building your foundation. Thanks so much for joining me, and I'll catch you next time.